I can't help but think about like when you guys got sober, like early sober that first time. I know you guys had a lot of fun and a lot of laughs, but would you talk about like you guys stayed sober? The two of
Yeah.
you didn't ever do it again. Would you talk about like how meaningful it was to get sober? Like where was early sobriety for you
Like, you
when you
mean with
first got it?
Chris or just in general?
In general. In
Yeah,
general.
I think and with Chris.
And with
Yeah, I think
Chris.
for sure we had lots of fun, lots of juvenile laughs, ridiculous stuff. But I think that's part of the reason why we all connected so hard. At the same time, like while we had so much fun, like all of us really wanted to be sober. Like I was at this, I was 23, but I like, I was using drugs since I was 13, and 23 is still really young. But for whatever reason in my life, I was so done with using drugs that I like really wanted to be sober. And so like I had this like level of like I took it pretty serious at the same time. And I think Colin had some of that, and Chris did too. And so we were able to like be super silly with each other, but at the same time like connect over the fact that like this is like super important shit. We'd go to meetings together, we would talk about like certain self-help books together, whatever. But like I think we all really connected over like taking it pretty serious. So it was like a very meaningful thing. Had it been like a year or two prior, I wouldn't have cared so much about the seriousness of like my sobriety. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was super. It was super meaningful for me, and I think just seeing like young people like being sober, like that was like mind blowing to me. Like I had never, I was trying to get sober, and I think 22 the first time I went to Mountainside, or maybe I was 23, and it had never like crossed my mind that like that was actually an option, that like I could be like a young person and have fun and be sober. But like seeing that and seeing this community of other people doing it was super meaningful for me.
Totally.
What about
Yeah,
you,
I
Colin?
mean, I came into Mountainside and met Ted and Chris pretty broken, and there wasn't a lot of humor and in getting to that point. And I think that Chris and Ted, in a lot of ways, there's like this perfect combination of being able to like talk about these things in like a humorous and like lighthearted way, but also like understanding the seriousness of it. Ted specifically. I mean, when I first met Ted, we were playing ping pong, and he had previously been a Mountainside like 6 months prior to that, and like immediately relapsed. And he told me that story, and like at that time, I was like, I was just at Mountainside. I was like living in the woods, and then ended up in treatment. So like the idea of like just being in a bed and eating regular food, regular meals, that's all I really cared about. It was like hard for me to even process the idea of recovery.
What do you mean? Hold up. What do you mean? I don't remember this. What do you mean you were
I
living
lived
in
Let's
in
the
slow
the
woods?
down for
I
a minute.
before I came to Mountainside, I ended up like living underneath a picnic table in a state park in Vermont. And I was like partly disassociating because at that time I was like ingesting a lot of pharmaceuticals that I was stealing off the back of a delivery truck, and I really had no idea like what I was taking. So I was like taking.
Do you have any idea now
I
what you were
was.
taking then?
I To be honest, it was like a mixture of opiates and chemo meds. It's like I like would
Wow.
put. I don't even know, to be honest. Like it was. I would just snort every single thing that I would put like towards the end. And I was drinking, and I had gotten kicked out of this kid's house, this like complete like degenerate kid's house who like didn't trust me anymore. Like that's like where I was at, where like that guy didn't trust me to like live in his house. So I burnt all bridges, and I just like went into like this kind of like I'm gonna do this walkabout like self-reliant. I remember reading self-reliance and like thinking that I could just like live in the woods and like find myself, which turned into like suicidal ideations and like disassociating. I was like fishing and like cooking fish on a fire. Um, it's, and then I'd like meander down into town and steal from this pharmacy delivery truck, and like scrounge up some money to get a bottle of vodka and go back up in the woods. So that's how I ended up at Mountainside. I basically woke up one day and I was like, I'm either going to die. I was like emaciated. I had shattered my collarbone, and I ended up asking for help. So the discrepancy from that to Mountainside was uh, like a med spa. And like it was
The jovial fun of
totally.
Mountainside.
And I mean, it's like I met Ted. We're playing ping pong, smoking cigarettes, and it's like the like seriousness of it slipped away pretty fast, until I met Ted, and Ted told me about like his experience over the last like 8 months, and was like, I'm gonna do whatever they tell me to do because like I didn't do that last time, and I'm back here, and I don't want to end up back here. So I ran with that, and then like in combination with Chris's unseriousness, but also like this underlying darkness of like him telling some pretty horrific shit about his life. Like that combination of like friendships that I had in the beginning, I think allowed me to like get on board with like I'll do whatever they tell me to do, and that's how I ended up at phase 4. So